Down power lines, flooding, and low water supply are what most residents throughout the country now have to deal with in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. That's the assurance NEMA officials issued hours after the monster storm cleared out of most of the Bahamas. And now that the brunt of the storm is behind us, NEMA Director Captain Stephen Russell says assessments can begin.
As we speak now, administrators in many of the islands, in the southeastern islands and some of the central islands from Eleuthera and Eleuthera, south, they are now conducting their initial damage assessments. We are standing by for those reports from those islands to get a clearer picture as to what would have occurred in those islands during the course of the last night in particular. I think once the airport is clear, an initial assessment flight may go into several of the islands late this afternoon to start the initial assessment process. But as of Saturday through Monday, we hope to get teams from all of the government agencies going into the various islands that have been seriously impacted to start the agency-specific assessments to see how we can best render assistance to those agencies and the communities that have been impacted.
Now, residents have been further advised to remain indoors as there are major flooding areas throughout the country.
We know the area near John Beach, west of Hilton, has had some extensive swells. The area in the Sanders Beach area, a lot of sand washed up onto the road. To prove the clearing that, we are working with the Royal Bahamas Police Force to have that. It will be necessary, I regret, to have that section of the road closed and track rediverted from that area so they can complete that sand removal clearance. And also on the area of West Bay Street, east of near the caves, between Sandy Port and the caves, we are aware that in addition to extensive sea swells that have been washing over the road, a large hole has developed in that road near the area of the caves. So again, the police will be closing off that section of the road. We ask you to publicly avoid that area so that we can assess the situation, and because it will only get worse.
Now, in terms of electrical supply, BEC General Manager Kevin Baisden gave this update.
As it relates to the southern family islands, the restoration process has already begun. And in fact, places like Inago, we are back up. We are continuing with some pole replacements that have to take place in islands like Cat Island and Long Island. As it relates to Long Island as well, in particular, there is some water that's impacting accessibility to the northern end for us to carry out full assessments there. Here in New Providence, we have about 50% of the customers on supply at present. Earlier this morning, at the worst case, we only had about 45% of customers on. The whole island was not off. We just had mostly customers impacted by lines clashing. There are some poles that we have to change, not as many, and some overhead lines.
At last report, Sandy was headed towards the northeast coast of the United States. NEMA officials are urging residents throughout the country to continue to remain indoors as the relevant government agency teams begin their work and assessment to get the country back up and running. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Sasha Lightborn.